So, Sandy Horrell, this is your life. Great to be with you. How are you? We've met in the past.
We have. In a restaurant, having dinner one evening many, many, many years ago.
I hope it was a good Italian restaurant. Do you remember the restaurant?
It was. Oh, I'm sure it was.
So, you've lived in St. Louis your entire life?
I have,
Yeah.
yes.
Tell me a little bit about growing up. A south area of town?
South County, Afton, basically. I went to Bayless school from kindergarten all the way through. And they still have a large school there now.
Very nice. What was your passion as a kid?
Basically just going out and playing, leaving in the morning and coming home for dinner. When
Just playing sports all day or what?
Called, yes, it was very casual and safe.
Yeah, that was the old days when parents could do that.
That's the old days,
Yeah.
yes.
What did you love doing athletically? What'd you do?
Well, when I was on the basketball team in high school and the softball team, and that's basically all I did athletically. And
How about women's sports back then as opposed to now? It's crazy, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
And it's awesome to see.
It is. It's great. Yes.
Yeah. Were you a sports fan as a kid, maybe going to Busch Stadium?
No, not as a child, but my father happened to work at Falstaff Brewing Company.
Oh, my gosh.
And he met many, many, many baseball players and Dizzy Dean. And we have all these autographed pictures that my dad got. But he would... we'd listen to the ball games on the radio because there was no TV.
Yeah, oh, that's right. So you had Harry Carey and a young Jack Buck at that time, probably, yeah. Falstaff was such a legendary business in St. Louis. I went to school with some greasadicks. I remember that family that kind of ran it and stuff. But what'd your father do?
Well, he was a brewmaster at one time, but then he took another position. I'm not certain what it was, that he traveled around a little southern Kentucky and Tennessee and things like that.
Did you have Falstaff beer in the refrigerator, or were you sneaking it at a young age?
Yeah. Oh, yes. He put little shot glasses. He had a bar in the basement of our house and fill it with beer, and we could take a little taste of that.
Yeah.
But he did make beer.
At your home?
At our home, in the basement, in the coal bin. In those days, you had a coal to heat your house, and a stoker,
yeah,
and a coal bin. And one time, the beer blew up. Somehow my mother called him on the phone, "You got to come here, it's running all over." So it was kind of funny.
So did you ever have some parties where some of your friends took advantage of your dad working for Falstaff?
No, because I was only about 8 years old.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right, so your dad had that nice career. What about your mom? Was she working or was she too busy with the kids?
No, she was just a mom and a wife, a housewife. She was a great cook. She could cook any kind of food, whether it be Italian or, because she was Irish, and she could cook anything, but she was a great cook. And subsequently, when my dad left Falstaff, he bought a restaurant. And it was a huge restaurant in South County, and it had a band at night. It was big area, and it was a place. In those days, you couldn't serve alcohol, only 3.2% beer, unless you had an incorporated city that you were in.
Oh my goodness!
Yes,
yeah.
And we lived upstairs from the restaurant where it was, and my dad used to go ahead and serve liquor, but he was friends with the liquor agents, and they'd call him and tell him we're coming in for a raid. So he would have to get all the whiskey and send it upstairs. But we had lots of actors and actresses come there that came from the Chase Hotel, because it was a very nice place and we were open. late, and
Yeah.
they would come there. Oh,
So a little bit of a nightclub, too.
it was a nightclub, yes.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
restaurant, yes.
Yeah. Did you happen to work there at all?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I was only
Okay.
my sister, who's 8 years older than I was. She had a very good time.
How about like any famous people that walked into your dad's establishment?
There was. Frankly, I don't recall who they were at the time. I was only like 8, 9, 10 years old when all that took place. So a lot of that went over my head.
Yeah.
But,
We used to have a restaurant on Grand pretty close to the Fox called Kemal's, and a lot of those actors would come in. I can remember like getting
Yeah.
pictures with someone when I was bussing their tables. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your mom and dad seemingly did have a great relationship. You grew up in a perfect household, or?
yes, as perfect as could be. Yes, I did.
Yeah. And what characteristics do you think you take from your mom? You came from a family of how many yourself?
Yes. My 2 sisters.
Okay, so
I'm
you're-
the baby.
So your mom raised 3, you did 5. What do you think you inherited from your mom in terms of being a mother?
In terms of what? I'm sorry.
In terms of being a mother, what
Oh.
character traits you think are similar? What'd you really learn from your mom?
My mother was rather stern.
Oh,
My father was not.
your sons are, by the way, nodding. And when you said stern, so you inherited the stern characteristic?
Probably. And I used to cook a lot. And I consider myself I was a pretty good cook. I cooked anything.
Yeah. All right. So tell me about your husband. How did you meet? And that whole
Which one?
Well, you're the father, the father of your children.
No. 4.
4 of them. Okay.
4. I'll jump to why there's only 4 is at one time when, I don't know, shall I jump?
Yeah,
up?
go ahead. No.
When I was dating, seeing someone, as a matter of fact, well, I was in the legal business all my life, or my elder life. I was dating this a criminal lawyer, very, very, very well-known criminal lawyer, and we were together for about 4 or 5 years, and I guess I can say this: I found that I had become pregnant. And when I told him, he said, "Well, I'm sorry, but I remarried my wife 3 months ago."
Oh, boy.
So this is Charlie, my son. I was fortunate enough to be able to contact some people in North Carolina, a lawyer, and he had a couple looking for adopting. And here I was, and I met the adopting people, Nancy and Charlie Brown, and they were very, very sweet. And there was no money or anything involved. It was just a friendly. I was happy, really, to do it for them. They had been trying to become pregnant, and of course, I had to hand Charlie over to them.
And you were how old at this point? Roughly?
Well, let's see. I guess I was late 20s.
Okay.
Late 20s. And I had already had, 2 children and working. So anyway, but I, of course, I had no contact with Charlie until about 40 or so many years later. I kept track of where he was, though, I got a phone call one day, and this woman said, "Are you Sandy McCoy?" And that was one of my my married names. And she said, "Well, did you have a baby in Raleigh, North Carolina in 66? And I said, "Yes." She said, "Well, do you want to talk to him?" And I said, "Yes." And she gave me the phone, and we spoke.
For the first time?
Yes, and we've been seeing each other ever since.
Wow. And do you live here? Does he?
Oh, he lives in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Wow. And how about the first time you saw him in person? How long after the phone call?
It was amazing. Well, it was quite soon after that.
After the phone call, you
Yes.
arranged to meet?
Correct.
Where?
He came to St. Louis with his 5 children,
Oh, my gosh.
and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. He has 5 children and one grandchild. So now I have 19 great and grandchildren.
Wow. Where did you see him for the first time, and how about your emotions right when it happened?
Well,
And could you tell right away?
oh, yes.
Were you at the airport or no?
No, he drove to my home. Yeah, he lived in Crestwood at the time. And he pulled in the driveway, and we embraced, and it was an amazing thing.
That's a lot of life to live. Boy, that is
Yes.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
great. Hey, want to go back? I'm of some of your previous jobs. I know you were in the legal world, but one as a teenager, I bet was really fun for you. You worked actually at Steak and Shake.
Car hop.
Oh my gosh.
When I was about 14, and my parents didn't know I was working, and one day my father pulled in there, and he said, he grabbed me by the shirt. He said, "She just quit."
Wow.
He did not like me working at 14.
But what would you make on a Good Friday night there?
Oh, a lot of money. I
Yeah.
was making good money, but they only let the girls work during the day
Okay.
at that time.
And you're still a big fan of the Steak and Shake hamburger, aren't you?
Not really.
No?
No, not really.
All right. So you have, so that accounts for you have 2 children, and then the adoption, and 2 more after that?
Correct.
Tell me about that.
Let's see. The next child is my baby daughter, Stephanie, and I met her father. Frankly, we were bowling.
Huh.
We were bowling, and that's how I met him. And he was a very kind fellow. He just had a big drinking problem.
Okay. Yeah.
And,
And are you married now?
no.
How about marriage at its best when it was really great? Tell me about, how about the love of your life? Who would it be?
Well, you, Frank.
You have better taste than that, I'm sure.
Well, yes.
Which man would be considered the love of your life,
Are
and
you
why?
kidding? That's hard.
Well, he's not going to be listening.
No, and he's passed. So, I would say Charlie's father.
Really? Okay. All right. So tell me
He was
about
an Irishman also.
an Irishman. Yeah. What about raising the 5 kids? And I've gotten a couple of nods over there that you were stern. So you were going to make sure they were going to turn out okay. And how proud are you of
Well, very proud. But I was very fortunate to have my mother and father.
that? Play a role in it?
Oh, yes. They were with me the whole time. And when I wasn't married or whatever, then I'd be with them. And, of course, when I was married, I worked. So I depended on them a lot for babysitting and cooking dinner before I got home.
So that seems really hectic. If you got 5 kids, you're working.
Well,
Oh,
they're 20
Go ahead.
20 years apart.
okay.
So, they're not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. All right. So tell me about each of the 5 and what they do now with their lives.
My eldest daughter, Deborah, beautiful, beautiful woman. She is 69. She looks like she's 39. She worked for, she ended up working in Seattle for Starbucks.
Oh, wow.
And she was in charge of telecommunications in the world for Starbucks. She traveled all over the world. Never married.
And where's she based now?
She lives in Chicago right now.
Okay. All right. That's
And,
number 1.
I'm sorry.
And then who's number 2?
She left Starbucks for my mother became ill at 92, and I brought her to my home and took care of her. But my daughter, Deborah, the oldest, came from Seattle. Starbucks let her work from home, from St. Louis, for it. They gave her 6 months because my mom was on the inspector. I forgot what they called it. Anyway, my mom happened to live 6 more months, and that was a year that it took my daughter and I both to take care of her because she was totally bedridden everywhere. And Starbucks told her that she needed to come home. They needed her. And so she quit her job.
Oh, boy.
It was a big job in those days. It was in 2002, I believe it was. Excuse me. And so she quit her job and moved to Chicago, and she works there.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's child number one. Tell me about child number two.
Child number two is Lynn Maureen McCoy. I met her father downtown, actually. I was working at S.G. Adams just as a secretary when I was just 18 or 19. I guess I was 19. And he lived near where I lived. So he started taking me to work in his little Jaguar, which was nice. And we ended up getting married. And he worked for the Frisco Railroad.
Okay, yeah.
Downtown.
Yep.
Excuse me. And he also played a saxophone as a side thing. And we just didn't get along well.
Okay. All right, child number three.
Child number three is Charlie.
Okay, and Charlie lives in North
Not
Carolina.
Raleigh, in Wake Forest he lives
And
in.
what does he do? What does Charlie do?
What does Charlie do? He's retired, but he's an EMT guy.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
All right. Now we have child number four is, after Charlie?
Stephanie April. And that's why I met her father in a bowling alley.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the one who drank too much. Matter of fact, after we were divorced and everything, they found him actually in a gutter in Webster Groves.
So what does she do?
She's just a housewife of 5 children.
Okay, that's awesome.
She had, on her 4th child, or right before her 4th child, I should say, she was diagnosed with lymphoma cancer and of the thyroid, excuse me. And being Catholic, she did not want to abort the baby. A week later, she found out she was pregnant. And she went through her whole pregnancy taking chemo.
Wow. And
while
the baby
pregnant, the baby came out perfect.
Oh my gosh, that's a miracle.
Of course. She's a miracle child. Yes.
Wow.
And the baby, a little girl, was perfect, and they named her Grace, a gift from God.
What a beautiful name. That's
And
great.
she's a perfect, beautiful 18-year-old girl now. Stephanie still has she had to take radiation after the baby was born, and she has no immune system. So she constantly has to inject herself, and take a lot of meds, very expensive. And she's married to another miracle. He is on his 8th year of a double lung transplant, her husband.
Oh my gosh.
My son-in-law.
And they're raising 5 kids.
They are.
But they can still work and they're okay?
He works. Oh, yes, he works.
Well, she can't with 5 kids. But.
Yeah, 2 of the children are gone and married. Just recently, the second one.
Okay, child number 5. Your baby is?
The baby boy.
Okay.
The baby boy, Brian Patrick. I met his father. Where did I meet his father? Oh, in a restaurant or bar.
Okay.
Somewhere. And we went together about a year and a half before we decided to get married. And we went to Mexico to get married.
Nice.
And ended up not getting married in Mexico drove down there and then drove back up to Las Vegas and got married there. But he took my children. He loved them like he was a great father to all of the children, and that was a wonderful thing.
And what does your son do now?
My son, he's an IT engineer at I don't know the name of the company, but it's right near here.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And his father worked at Union Electric. He was a senior accountant. All of his whole life, he worked there till he retired at 65.
So I'm seeing a little bit of a theme here. All of your kids have turned out to be real successful. IT, EMT, Starbucks. Man, you've really done a nice job there.
Oh, I don't think I had a lot to do with that.
Oh, sure you did.
Well, they're amazing. They're amazing. My son, Brian's father, he was, as I said, he was so good with the other children.
Yeah.
It was great. And when he retired, we traveled a little, went to Europe, really had a wonderful time there. All over. We went to 7 different countries. It was great.
All right, we're videotaping, correct? We are videotaping, right? Yes. There's cameras on all over. All right, so this is good because if we just did this with audio, it wouldn't do justice. So the most amazing thing here is you are claiming you're 87.
I will be in December.
This is crazy because like your hair is like perfect. You're slim. You don't have a wrinkle. What beauty tips?
No.
How have you done this?
Frank, you are too kind.
No, I'm serious.
No, you are too kind.
What have you done to stay so youthful?
Stay busy.
Do you work out?
Not anymore.
What'd you do to work out?
I used to walk 5 miles a day, 6 days a week.
And you don't do that now because?
I don't.
Is it any orthopedics?
I do a little thing at home.
Okay. And then what about the skin? Have you put lotions on for years or are you just great genetics?
I did what my mother told me to do. Wash your face every night. Wash your face every night. And in those days, we used Ponds, Ponds,
Okay.
cream. So cream.
Yeah.
But thank you for that.
Yeah. And that shade of red, this is going to be a real shallow thought by me, but I'm very shallow, is that women with red hair, they go one way or the other. They're either usually really stunning or they're not at all.
Really?
And you have that perfect. Who was that? That's thinking Anne Margaret, Victoria Principal, Patricia Heaton. Any other great redheads you can think of?
My mother.
Oh, she's a redhead too?
She was, and my dad was too. They were both redheads.
Yeah. All right, so a lot of your career was spent in the legal profession.
Was. I loved it, yes.
I have a son who just started his first day on the job as a lawyer.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, it was yesterday. So tell me about, boy, you're around a lot of type A, probably crazies. You probably saw a lot of life in that period of time.
I did.
To describe the atmosphere at its wildest.
Well, I worked for 2 different law firms, and then for a retired judge. It was the Missouri Court of Appeals at Armstrong Teasdale. Was before I kind of retired. But my bosses were like, they took me under their wings and taught me a lot.
So what kinds of things would you actually do in these law offices?
Well, I became a paralegal.
Oh, you did? Wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
I had some courses that I had taken, but yes, I was a paralegal at both law firms and for Judge Brady, and also for United Van Lines when I finally married my last husband, and he said that I couldn't work. So, but that was nice. And Brian, my youngest son, is the first baby I was able to stay home and take care of.
Wow, that's great. Now, were you in the courtroom much?
I was one of the first women paralegals that they would really let them come in the courtroom and sit with the lawyer.
Really?
Yeah.
Said, I imagine, the intensity and what's at stake in some of those cases.
Yeah.
Talk about not having a boring job. That must have really been cool. Well, did you ever were there ever murder cases or were there
No. There were no murder, excuse me.
any criminal cases? Or?
Yes, there were some of those, yeah. As a matter of fact, the law firm of Harris Fortis Anderson, Norman Anderson, was the Attorney General of Missouri at the time. And Ray Harris was the, they used to call him a coroner, but now they don't call him a coroner anymore.
All right, so you're 87 now. How do you...
Now, wait a minute. Not 56,
86, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. You don't look a day over 55.
Oh.
So how do you spend your time now, like each day?
Well, I just moved out of my house about 3 years ago that I lived there for, 54 years in Crestwood.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
I liked it.
So why move?
Well, I couldn't take care of it anymore the way I wanted to. It was too big for me. So I now...
You downsized to an apartment or what?
A condo.
Condo.
In Melville, of all places.
So you're back where you... Well, Melville's pretty close to Bayless, right? The school districts?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right there. So a lot of times, in fact, I'm texting with Mike Bush this morning before I walked in. He downsized and he hated it. And now he's going back to buy a house.
Oh, no, I love it.
Because why?
Oh, I don't have to worry about the grass getting cut.
That's cool.
The pipes breaking or whatever. And
How many bedrooms?
2.
2, okay.
2 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2 full baths.
And do you see the grandkids much?
I don't get to see them much because they're, in St. Charles. I see Brian's his children more because he lives closer to me.
Okay.
But we're gonna change that.
Yeah. Now, have you ever gone to a Bayless high school reunion?
Yes.
When's the last one you went to? What year? How many years ago do you think the last one?
I went last year.
That was number what in terms of reunion number?
They're all.
Oh, they're all together.
All the one
Okay.
I go to because they don't do mine anymore because there's not too many left.
So, like, how many were there from your class at your last reunion you went to? You think?
One.
One.
At my class reunion. Oh, no, at my own class reunion. No, there were about 6 of us then. As a matter of fact, I'm still friends with 4 of the girls I went to kindergarten with. They're alive yet.
Are you kidding?
No.
Wow. And this would have been high school. You graduated from high school in what year?
High school, yes.
What year did you graduate?
Well, we were 55.
55. And 4 of those girls are
From kindergarten.
that stayed with you through high school or no?
Yes.
Oh
yes.
my gosh.
Yes.
But you probably
I've got
look
a
at
picture of them. I'll show you to you. I'll show it to you on
But
my phone.
none of those 4 could look as sharp and be as sharp as you,
Oh,
right? No, be honest.
You are too kind to me, really.
A lot of times I talk to people that go to reunions that are in your situation, that are really youthful. They think, gosh, these people are so old. Do you ever think that when you go to a reunion?
Yeah. Well, there aren't too many older than them. Now, I go to one that's all-class reunion.
Yes.
They have it. It comes up, as a matter of fact, in October.
Okay.
I went last year, and I helped sign the people in when they came in and that. I was the oldest person there.
Wow.
The oldest person.
That's amazing. So, what do you attribute? You still drive.
Yes. Oh,
And
yeah.
is there any? Do you have any limitations at all? I mean, do you have any health issues at all?
A little high blood pressure that I take a very small amount of blood, 2.5 milligrams of
That's
blood
all
pressure.
you take for anything.
Yeah.
And you know how rare that is. I got a mother-in-law must take 15 pills a night. Yeah. That's crazy. So your mom and dad, how long did they each live?
My mom, she passed at 94.
Was she in pretty good shape till the end?
No. She wasn't for quite a while.
Yeah.
I mean, she never exercised or anything, you know. But,
How about your dad?
my dad? He passed at he was 76 years he passed in 1976. He was 77 years old.
77.
Wait a minute. No, he was born in 1901 and he passed in 76, so I guess he was 75.
Yeah.
He had every tooth in his mouth when he died.
Is that right?
He got cancer of the lungs, and he never smoked, but being in the bar business all those years.
Oh, yeah. Secondary smoke.
And he ended up, before he passed, he worked as a sheriff here for St. Louis County.
He became a sheriff, too?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Nightclub owner, and a sheriff? That's quite a career.
Yeah. And he had 3 girls, and he spoiled us. I'm the baby. Here's one spoiled. That's my 8th grade graduation ring.
That's a diamond?
No. It's an aquamarine.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, can you imagine a 13-year-old? Yeah.
That's sharp.
8th grade graduation. I'm up on that stage like this.
It's amazing you've kept it that long.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, you're at 18 grandchildren. How many total?
19.
19. Now, let's just say that all 19 of them get a copy of our show here today. So they're all listening right now. What would you want to know? What would you want to tell them about your love for them?
My love?
Yeah. How would you describe your love for these grandchildren that could be listening and watching this one day?
It's probably one of the greatest experience a person can have, having a grandchild or a great-grandchild. And they're just amazing. They're healthy. I'm so blessed having all those children healthy. And I just wish I could see them all a lot, and I'm not able to.
All right. So then let's just say you live another 13 years. We get you to 100, okay? And they have the funeral, and then your 5 kids decide to break this out. What would you want to tell your 5 kids about your love for them?
I'm sorry.
What would you want to tell your 5 kids who will be listening to this in 13 years? You're going to get to 100 here. What would you want them to know about your love for them? How much did you love them?
There is no measurement. There is no measurement. It's just so huge and deep. I love my children. Just from here to the moon and back.
You seem like you're kind of a romantic too. You love life and you love romance. Am I reading that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I got to ask you about any sports love. Have you become a Cardinal fan, Blues fan, Rams fan? What do you?
Cardinals, of course. That's number one. I see every game. I watch every game.
Really? At night?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a favorite all-time player in history for the Cardinals?
Not really.
Ozzie, Stan, Albert.
Oh, I love them all.
Oh, Tommy Herr?
Oh, Snoots. We call him Snoots.
Because?
He'd do that.
Oh, yeah. The women seem to like Tommy Herr. Why do you think that's the case?
Oh, he was sweet. He was a little sweet. Oh, I have one. I loved, and I still love Bader. Oh my goodness.
Harrison Bader.
Bader tots. Oh, love him.
I asked Tommy Herr a few years ago about the way women loved him. He goes, yeah. He goes, it was kind of awkward sometimes when I'd be with my wife at dinner. And Bader did have that same type of charm, I guess.
Yes, he did.
Did you ever see Stan Musial play?
No, I never saw Stan Musial play.
Okay.
I used to go to, how I got into baseball really was because of Charlie's father. he was a big baseball fan, and we'd go to Sportsman's Park in my dress, heels, and mink stole, and men wore suits at that time at the games.
But like in the summer?
Oh, yeah. Well, not the summer. I didn't have a mink stole, but during when
October,
it was cold,
when it was colder, everybody, it was like a whole real happening.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
How about blues games? Because I used to see women in full dresses and beehive haircuts and men in suits.
Never went to a blues game. His father also was a big ice hockey
fan.
And what was the name of the team at that time? It wasn't the Blues. What was it? Before the Blues?
Before the Blues, a long time ago, there's a team called the Bombers, but I think...
Whatever. We traveled to 2 different places to watch them play, also different cities, because he was a big ice hockey fan.
Yeah. Speaking of travel, you've probably been to some cool places. Any favorite destination, favorite vacation of all time? What city, what country?
Well, I think it was when I think I mentioned before, when I was married to my youngest daughter's father, my youngest son's father. We took a 6-week trip to Europe, all over, and I didn't want to come home. It was wonderful.
What would you like to have back? Let's say I'm a genie, and I can grant you any wish of something you could go back in time and change it. What's your regret?
To change?
Yeah, is there anything you'd regret or take back if you had to do it all over again?
Oh, well, I'd have to think about that. But what I would like to change is to have my parents back.
Yeah. You'd love to have a family dinner with them, huh? With your mom cooking? What was the best thing she cooked, by the way?
Oh.
Just one great thing.
Well, she made some great corned beef and cabbage. It was really good.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. And then, how about, speaking of food, what about restaurant-wise in St. Louis? Maybe one of your 2 favorites of all time. What do you got? What do you love?
Roberto's.
Roberto's in South County. Roberto's auntie. I know him well.
Oh, I've known him for over 30 years.
Now, he's out of it now.
Well, he is. He opened the sandwich shop.
Is that still up?
Zante's.
Yeah.
Right next door.
So that's still open every day. Yes.
Well, he's in it.
His son was supposed to get in it, and I don't know if he did.
No. Well, he helped. The person that bought Roberto's, a young man by the name of Hines, went to school with my son Brian.
Is the food still good?
Oh, yes.
It is.
Roberto was telling me he took him for 6 months in the kitchen and showed him everything.
Wow. Boy, but when Roberto got in that kitchen, there was nobody better. All of his pastas were great.
I knew him. He first had a little bitty in the same Concord Plaza there. But then when he got divorced from his wife, he lost that, and he opened a little restaurant on Gravois.
Yep.
South County.
Yeah, was it called Zante's? Or,
no,
I'm not sure.
It was Roberto's.
Roberto's, yeah.
But his last name is Zante.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I know him, yeah.
And then he went to this place where he is now, or was.
Yeah, that place, no restaurant in St. Louis had better food.
Thank you. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's great. All right, so what's next as we wrap things up here? What kind of goals, or what do you want to accomplish with the next 13 years of your life? Because we know you're living to 100. What do you want to do? What's your dream?
I would like to take a cruise, a river cruise. Not. Don't get me on the ocean.
No, I got you.
A river cruise in Europe down the Seine, probably something like that.
Yeah, they say that you have a butler, and it's supposed to be like the most luxurious thing ever. Yeah.
That's what I'd like to do.
You've been on other cruises, I imagine, have you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, well, we did cruise when we were over there in Europe, but
yeah.
No, I don't go in the ocean. Oh, no. I just look at the ocean.
Well, it's an honor to get to know you. What a life you've lived.
Well, I've met so many interesting people, too. All those people I've met, they're in there that I've met. They're amazing.
Oh, yeah, there were a few that I looked at last night. Yeah, you, was it, so wait a minute, who was it that really jumped out at me? Well, okay, let me go through a couple of these real quick. Learning of the JFK assassination, how'd you learn that?
Charlie's father called me at my office, and he told me about it. I was at work.
Watching 9/11, where were you?
I was at home taking care of my mother, and my eldest daughter was home from Seattle. We were watching it on TV.
Neil Armstrong on the moon, 69, I think?
Yeah.
How do you remember that?
Amazed on TV.
Yeah, just sitting at home, that was crazy.
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
You met Sinatra?
Oh, sure.
At your father's nightclub? No.
No. It was I had a friend of mine that was at that time in the 60s. It was in the 60s. And he was, when I was single, a lot during the 60s, but he owned a bar, a really nice bar where a lot of, like, Neil Armstrong. Anyway,
yeah.
We went to see Frank at the Chase one night, and we were sitting there. He's up, and he was right on the
stage, the end.
Yeah,
of
right
the
at the
stage.
stage, and he sent a man over and invited us up to his suite after the show, and that's it.
And how'd that go?
Amazing. And a lot of roses at my office.
The next day?
Yeah. It was very entertaining.
And Frank Sinatra was a nice guy? You liked him?
Amazing, yes. Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, I wish I was more of a prying interviewer, but I think I better stop it right there. That is awesome.